Welcome to I'm Not Joking, the podcast where a behavioral scientist examines what it's like to live a humorous life. Glimpse into the lives of the funniest people in entertainment, business, and science as your host, Dr. Peter McGraw, explores their habits, motivations, and secrets to success. Get ready to fire up your brain and your funny bone. Now, here's your host.
Welcome to I'm Not Joking, the podcast that looks at the lives of funny people. I'm Peter McGraw. Today's guest is Will Hines. Will has been a performer and teacher at Upright Citizens Brigade since 2000. He's appeared on television shows such as Broad City, Inside Amy Schumer, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Community, and My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. He's written several books on improv, including Pirate Robot Ninja, which he co-authored with Billy Merritt, a previous guest on the show. Welcome, Will.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, so I met you a week ago.
That's right before my improv show.
That's right, for the Smokes.
Yeah, or maybe it was right after.
After.
Yeah.
And you were really good.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for coming to watch.
It was fun. I'm coming again after this.
Yeah, cool.
Which I'm excited.
Excited to have you.
And so I wanted to know if you weren't working as an improviser, an actor, a writer, or a teacher.
Yeah.
What would you be doing?
Yeah. I guess I would probably be a computer programmer because that's what I was doing up until I started improv.
Oh, tell me more.
I mean, it's been a long time, so my muscles in that regard have atrophied. But if I hadn't left it, I assume I would have kept up with it.
Yeah, Fortran I don't think is that useful anymore.
Yeah, COBOL and Fortran, people don't want. But I'm gonna keep plugging it if I can get back. Yeah, I was. I had a lot of jobs. I was a journalist right out of college for like 3 years, and then the internet happened. I graduated college in '92, so that's like when the internet was beginning to explode. And so, like at that time, you could self-teach yourself some basic web stuff,
yes,
and sort of get a job. Like the barrier to entry in the tech world was temporarily sort of low. And I'd been like a computer nerd kid. So I taught myself HTML and JavaScript and some basic server side stuff like Perl. Those are all languages. In the mid 90s, they were relevant and, got a job. And I did that for like 6 or 7 years where I would just teach myself computer programming languages so when I was like 24 until I was 30, I was doing that full time. Or when I was 29, I started doing improv, classes and then pretty quickly performing at the UCB. And then I started coaching and teaching for money and auditioning for commercials. And so I kind of let the computer stuff go.
Good. Well, yeah, clearly you're good at it.
Thanks.
Now, so you and I are about the same age. I graduated, college in 1992.
Oh, yeah?
What
college?
Rutgers University.
Oh, yeah.
On the East Coast, you?
University of Connecticut.
Okay.
UConn, baby.
So congrats on getting out.
Yeah.
So how did the improv thing happen?
You mean like in my life?
Yeah. Like, was this a dream or were you like, I'm going to take
No, I'm bad about planning anything. I'm bad about like having a deep want and pursuing it. I'm always trying to get better at that, but I've never been able to. No, I backed into it. I had funny friends in high school and college. And then I graduated and went into the real world, and the real world was boring, and people are boring, and people were like just talking about what television shows they liked. And I mean, people were nice, but I missed it. I missed more creative people, and I couldn't see a way to get them into my life being in the corporate computer world. Even the journalism world, which is sort of more freaky deaky, and there's more like creative eccentrics there. I mean, actually, I really liked being a newspaper journalist, but every single person in that field who was older than me said, "Get out, it's dying." And I was like, and they're like, and it wasn't great when it was thriving. I was like, okay. So I knew that I wasn't going to stay there just for practical reasons. So I just missed funny people. So I took an improv class. Taking an improv class was part of a whole thing I did in my late 20s. Like I went to open mics and tried doing stand up. I would audit different improv classes. I would try to write what I thought were humorous essays and submit them to places like The Village Voice or New York Press or like alternative news weeklies that I thought might published them. And I think like e-zines were starting to happen in the late 90s.
Yes,
like
right.
Slate happened and Salon happened, and I would submit there and I got nothing. I mean, I didn't really have a strong comedic voice. I just wanted to be funny just because I missed these people. I never thought of it as like, oh, I'll do this for a career. I did kind of think like, oh, if I just sort of head in that direction, something will happen.
I see.
You know, I don't think I had the confidence to think I would ever be a performer, but I was like, oh, maybe I'll be like an editor of a funny newspaper, or maybe I'll be like, you know, in the production side of something.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what my options would be, but I was like, I'll just head towards this world. And then I took this improv class at the UCB Theater in 1999 when I was 29. And I had, like I say, dabbled in some other comedy things, but it just clicked with me. The people I met in my class, I'm still friends with. I loved my teachers, and I just started going there every night. And I basically have never left.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's interesting you say this. Your story of like maybe I'll be an editor reminds me of what really, in hindsight, was a big breakthrough in my life in terms of, I mean, performing generally. I mean, as a professor, I perform in front of a class.
Yeah, right.
And then I give talks, and then I've taken 101 and 201.
What's your subject matter you teach?
I'm a behavioral economist, behavioral scientist. So I teach, my main course right now is I actually teach marketing management to MBAs.
Wow.
And I do that at the University of Colorado. And then lately I've been doing it as a free agent. So
Just on the street.
anybody who has the
Just
tuition
collaring
dollars.
people, being like, you look like you could use this.
Actually, most people in business could use it. You know, but at other universities. So I teach the core, which is like the first or second semester beginner's marketing course. And it's an incredibly unpopular course. And so I've managed to do it well.
I see.
In part because of theatrics.
I see.
And so now, you know, I get offers to fly to other universities and teach it, which is cool.
Yeah.
A little extra.
And you took a couple
money.
improv classes.
I've taken 101 and 201, both as intensives.
Gotcha.
Here at UCB in LA.
Okay.
I think I'm going to retake 201.
Okay.
And then I'm going to shoot for 301 and 401 eventually.
I say just go on to 3.
You say you do.
Mm-hmm. They'll go over the stuff again that you feel like you need more shoring up on.
I see. Well, okay.
4 is a better one to repeat than 2, I think.
Oh, okay. I thought of just doing it as an intensive because it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
201 is so much fun.
Oh, interesting. That's normally the class that weeds people out.
Oh, okay. Well, I like it because, you know, 201 is about games, so it's about finding funny things.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that in a second.
Great.
So when I was in high school, I was starting to kind of, I wouldn't call myself a class clown, but I was like in all the honors and AP classes. Mm-hmm. So the standard for class clown was much lower in those courses. So I started to kind of experiment a little bit with being funny and irreverent and so on.
Did you identify as being a funny person? Like, did you think of yourself that way?
Back then, I couldn't tell you.
Did you have friends who were like, you know, funny or like?
Yeah, my clique, you know, my lunch table was filled with kind of gregarious, charismatic.
Were you guys like watching people. SNL or watching the stand-ups at that time and imagining doing it or something like that?
No, I actually never dreamed of doing comedy. I mean, I was into stand-up, like, you know, Eddie Murphy's Delirious and, you know, stuff like that came out. That was on the radar culturally.
Sure, yeah.
In a way, and Saturday Night Live and so on. Mm-hmm. And so, but I got invited there was a psychology class in my high school, which is unusual. I loved the class, outstanding teacher. And unbeknownst to me, every year he would invite a group of seniors to do this thing that he called psychodrama, which was these kind of amusing sketches about teenage challenges.
Right.
You know, so things like bullying and drug use and, you know, things like that. And so every year, I guess he would ask, either at the beginning of the semester, beginning of the year, or at the end of the junior year, he would ask a new group of seniors to join the psychodrama cast.
Okay.
And I remember the day distinctly because he said, you know, he named 3 people or 4 people from the class and said, can you stay after? And these were guys, 2 of the other 4 or other 3 were in my lunch table. And they were like, oh, yeah, we got it. Like they knew about it and they were excited about it.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know what it was. And he afterwards goes, I don't know if you know about this. He describes this group, and I'd like you to come on Saturday, and we're going to have a meeting and all this kind of stuff. And I remember thinking, well, maybe I'll run the AV.
Right.
Because he would get like 10 gregarious people and then like 2
techie
less
nerds,
so who ran the AV and, kind of we're PA kind of production assistant types.
Yeah.
And so my first instinct was like, he's not asking me to do this, and I'm not going to get on stage and do this stuff, but I'll run the stereo, you know, kind of thing. And I remember that was not his intention. He slotted me into these sketches that he's been using. And I remember the first time like doing this on stage and getting like a huge laugh.
And loving it.
And I was hooked.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, I can imagine lots of people have that kind of experience.
Right.
That said, I never set out to get into comedy the way the way I have.
Yeah.
I kind of backed into it as a scientist. But I'm really fascinated by improv, and I'm fascinated by people's journey like yours. Like your journey is interesting to me because I've only been here in LA for 2 weeks for this sabbatical that I'm taking, and it seems like there's lots of people who are very goal oriented, and you're just making a crack.
Yeah, like I had trouble focusing on a goal and going for it.
Yeah.
But I think I should do more of. But yeah, people here are good at that.
They're good at having goals. They're not always good at achieving them.
Yeah.
And yet it seems like you've achieved a lot. As a goalless man, you've gotten a lot done.
Yeah, that's true. I'm pretty effortful. I mean, I like being busy at stuff, and I'm good at finishing projects. I am. So that's definitely helped. And really it was my career success is sort of an accident of having stumbled into the UCB theater as it was being born. In New York. Like it just ballooned, and I was inside the balloon as it filled up or something like that.
Yeah, or I like to say a rising tide lifts all boats. Right.
So I showed up in a little boat that might not have been able to survive on the ocean, but I went on a lake and it became an ocean.
Yeah,
so.
and certainly UCB for a long time has become a feeder for television.
Yeah.
Especially as I think television execs got smart, or someone got smart about how improvisers have better acting chops than stand-ups.
That's probably true overall. Yeah, that's probably generally true. I mean, probably lots of exceptions, I'm sure, either way. But yeah, the skills of improv are acting more than writing.
Indeed.
And stand-up's probably writing more than acting, usually.
And so, I've been working on this new project, and so the project is designed to translate the sort of practices and the perspectives of the masters of comedy into, I call it serious business lessons.
Oh.
So it's how do you learn from these sort of misfits?
Yeah.
You know, these people who have this very challenging job, and as a result have interesting ways to go about achieving it.
Okay.
And so I think improv is a very good case study of kind of translatable skills, rules, and perspectives, practices.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
And so before we go into that, I want to talk about your lack of goals for a second.
Okay.
Because I've been sort of puzzling over this idea in general. And also specifically for the book, though, I don't know where it fits, and it might not. I read an article on Medium recently, and it said, "Are your goals holding you back?" And the writer, it rightfully acknowledged the benefits of having a goal. When you have a goal, it gives you something to work to. You get these sub-goals, and you get tasks, and so on. But the argument that he made, and this was at the perfect time for me because I had just been promoted to full professor. I was just about to go on a sabbatical. In many ways, I had achieved every major goal I had set out in my life, and I was contemplating picking some new ones. And his argument was, first of all, goals, yes, are useful, but they're imperfect, in part because a goal is a prediction about what you want your future to look like. And because of the uncertainty of the future, it's you're making a prediction, and predictions are often wrong.
Yeah.
And he put forth an alternative, more, I'd say, mindful, present-focused way, which is pursue interesting things. And he used Richard Feynman.
Oh, I don't know, actually. I've always said Feynman.
I think it's Feynman.
I don't know.
famous physicist as an example of a man who pursued interesting things and as a result managed to achieve really more than interesting things, in a sense. He tells a story how he became a safe cracker when he was working on the Manhattan Project or whatnot. And so I think that's a very process-focused view of, looking to challenge yourself, doing things that you're naturally drawn to that might help lead you to achieve things perhaps on different timelines, perhaps not exactly hitting the mark if you had chosen that mark, but by nature of day-to-day doing the kind of things that draw you in at the end of a year, 5 years, 10 years, so for you, 19 years, you find yourself in a pretty good place, even though you never wrote down at the beginning of the year, get an AT&T commercial.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's everything in moderation, I think. Like, to some degree, you have to hold on to your goals pretty loosely, but there's some benefit to there's something about goals that means having faith in yourself and desire and envisioning good things for yourself and believing that you can get them or that you deserve them. I think that's part of the reason why there's a bit of a self-esteem, confidence issue with not having goals. Or sometimes the reason that one might not have goals is you don't have the confidence in yourself to have goals.
Yeah.
So I think on one end of the spectrum, you're trying to control the world around you and you're upset and angry if it doesn't go your way. Well, then you're too attached to your goals beyond your control. But on the other end, you're so zen and floating that you never you don't become anything. Like, you have to tell a story about yourself, even if you're willing to change it, even if it's just, a working draft or whatever. Like, that's something I didn't do for a long time.
So when you described yourself, so to me this is...
it would be I would just do, I guess the good and bad side of it, I would just worry about the next step. So I took improv classes. I just wanted to be good in class, and I had a practice group, and I wanted to be good in that group. And I would base it just on how my peers were reacting and how the coaches were reacting. I didn't have any performance opportunities. The improv scene in New York City was so small. You took classes, and then if you got onto a UCB team, which they didn't even have auditions, they just picked people when they needed them, then you could perform. And if that didn't happen, you didn't perform, basically, not improv.
Yeah, you were done.
You could do stand-up probably or find a way to do sketch or characters, but improv, the only way you could do it would be on the UCB stage in 1999. So I was like, I couldn't even worry about getting that was too big. I was like, well, I'm just going to be good in the classes and the practice group.
I see.
And I'll measure that based on the reactions of my friends and teachers. Billy was one of those teachers. Billy Merritt, my co-author.
Yeah,
and a previous guest. And then I got on the team. And then my goal changed. So now I'm going to try to be good here.
I see.
And then
it's a little is it Del Close? It's like jump and figure it out on your way down.
I think he did say that.
Something like that kind of thing. So.
And then the UCB started getting bigger, and casting directors started sending emails to the artistic directors looking. These are non-union. They're looking for cheap actors, basically. This is in 2005, and the then artistic director, his name is Anthony King, would email these casting notices to the house teams. Be like, does anybody want to submit for this? He basically was our agent.
I see.
By virtue of passing this stuff on, and I submitted to a couple of those and got them. Then I was like, I can get commercials. I guess I'll go a little bit more that way.
Yeah, I'll get good at doing commercials.
Yeah, try to get better at that and see if I can get an agent. Then friends started selling TV shows, people I'd either taught or knew, and then they would ask me to audition for those, and I got some of those. I think every TV show I've been on, which hasn't been too many, somebody from the UCB theater was working on the show and suggested me.
Okay.
I don't think it's ever happened that a casting director saw me and was like, we got to get that kid in our thing. No, it's always like a writer is like, I had this improv teacher who'd be good for this.
Yeah, I think these generational effects are not trivial. I mean, certainly in entertainment, but also elsewhere. I mean, they exist in academia, so as you get more advanced, if you're going to move jobs, you usually have a friend in the place you're going to land. You get invited to give talks. There's opportunities come from knowing people and them thinking, Will would be great for this.
Yeah.
Or at the very least, you get opportunities because they say, Pete's going to have a hard time saying no to me because they're my friend. It's a little slightly different.
Yeah, yeah.
So you became a teacher, and then you have so you've written books on improv, and so I want to let's talk about your most recent Pirate Robot Ninja.
Yes, I wrote that with Billy.
I love the idea.
Oh, thanks.
And in part because I, as a new improviser, I feel like a robot.
Okay.
And I also like the idea that there are these sort of different roles, but also something to aspire to.
Oh, great. That's what we were hoping for.
Yeah. So I think that's really good. So for the listeners, who's a pirate? Who's a robot? Who's a ninja?
Melissa McCarthy's a pirate.
Okay. Why?
Impulsive, energetic, fun, mischievous, dangerous.
Brash.
Yeah. Seems like who knows what her actual internal process is, but that's the energy she gives off.
Mm-hmm.
And seems like someone who would kind of fearlessly jump into a situation and then improvise her way out. That's a pirate.
So pirates are swashbuckling, right? The idea of swinging in on a rope.
Yeah. And then, and they tend to be actorly more than writerly. And then the writers are like the little think bots, the little a writer would be like a master of a one-liner. God, like Stephen Wright is a pirate, but like who's a more modern one? Like David Spade. I mean, someone who kind of is a little bit removed and sort of cold.
Jesselnick.
Jesselnick could definitely be a robot.
That's Anthony Jeselnik for people.
Yeah, the stand-up comedian. Yeah. Stand-ups, I think, tend to be robots, like the thinkers, the writers. They want to know the rules, and they want to know, before they take a step, they want to know how it's going to pay off at the end. Mm-hmm. But they're also good at, like, remembering everything and giving things a purpose and finding patterns and labeling what's going on. They tend to be good at, like, turns of phrase and little witticisms that you can only make when you're a little bit detached from the situation. They tend to be observers, which can be good.
Can I interrupt? I think I know the answer to this question.
Okay.
So in improv,
yes,
why is it useful to have some robots on your team?
To label stuff, to say what's going on, to speak the audience's mind, to also to give direction. The pirates can be kind of rudderless, and the robots will see a path that has an ending and go that way. The robots have better memories. They'll remember how the scene started and be able to try to circle back to it. The pirate can't remember.
Yeah. So I think that idea is very important because for the average audience member, they don't realize that long form is a game, that has rules and has beats.
Right.
And, the idea being, so we were talking about 101, 201, and beyond. So, 101 is just how to create a scene.
Yeah, at UCB, right? Every improv theater has their own. Almost every improv theater, the shows are cheap/free, and the classes cost money. Mm-hmm. They make their money on classes.
Yes.
Performers don't get paid, teachers do get paid. That's the general model of many improv theaters. So their classes are all very particular to their culture.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
The Groundlings classes I've never taken them, but I'm sure they're very different from UCB classes, which are different than Second City, which is different than Improv Olympic, which is different than if you go to smaller markets to the improv theaters there. I mean, again, I'm sure a lot of the principles are the same, but the order that things get taught, and that's probably all different. So at the UCB, 101 is improv fundamentals, just making a scene happen.
Indeed, yes.
And then 201 is comedy stuff, unusual thing and heightening.
Yes. And so for listeners, if you're interested in the differences, I had Jeremy Sender on, and he talked about some of those differences, especially between UCB and IO, what used to be Improv Olympics.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that happens is that you learn how you recognize the unusual thing, and then in that 201, if I remember correctly, you start to learn how you revisit that unusual thing in different ways, right? So time dash is one of the...
it's in a way analogous. Is another way.
So the same problem, but in a different situation.
Yeah, different characters, but same type of behavior.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the goal of you're building up to doing a Herald,
Right.
which is this long form show that has these kind of
Right. Structure that Del Close came up with, which is like a sonnet is to poetry what a herald is to long form.
Right.
It's like there's rules to fulfill.
Yeah.
But you could technically have it be about whatever you want.
and so it sounds like what you're saying is robots.
Yeah, they'd be good at like
propel that Herald because
robots are great in the herald because you walk into a second beat and the pirate can't remember what happened in the first beat, and the robot can start the scene in a way that reminds the pirate what it was about.
yeah.
The robot will remember that the pirate in the first beat kept saying, "Where's the magic, baby? Where's the magic?" Now here in this scene, the pirate cannot remember what the last scene is about. So the robot will start with, "Listen, you want to know where the magic is? It's not here." And the pirate will be like, "Oh, right, I'm the where's the magic guy." And so the robot helps that way.
Okay. So, but both the pirate and the robot, so they complement each other. And
Yeah,
you
very
can
much.
you can have a very good team
Yes.
with half robots and half pirates.
Yep. That'd be ideal, I think.
Okay. But if you want to take it the next level stuff,
Right. That's the ninja.
the ninja. So what's
They can do both. They're morphing from one to the other as needed.
Okay.
They can start like a pirate, then think like a robot.
So if I may, did you start like a robot and now you're a ninja?
That's right.
Okay.
I'm a super ninja.
You were ninja-like the last time I saw
Oh, really?
you.
Oh, great.
I thought so.
You know, some shows I'm on, some shows I'm not. I think I felt off last show. My team they're all super experienced veterans. Everybody's done a lot, and we've known each other forever.
That's obvious.
Which is really nice.
Because it was
Like I met Billy in 1999. You know, he was my teacher.
It was fun seeing the comfort and camaraderie. I mean, it shows.
Yeah.
There's like, well, one is it's very fun watching you guys laugh at each other.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a thing on Saturday Night Live when someone breaks.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Jimmy Fallon would do it all the time.
Yeah, when it happens in improv shows, I love it.
Yes.
And then I also like the sort of good nature putting people in slightly awkward situations.
Yeah, for sure.
Not in a mean way, but in a fun.
You're just playing street ball with each other. Like, you know you can take it, so.
Yeah.
You're supposed to yes and support each other, but if you are really good friends, you can deliberately deny and throw each other under the bus just for fun, selectively.
We'll get back to some of those kind of ground rules, but how does one transition from robot to ninja? How does one transition from pirate to ninja?
That's fun to think about. I mean, I think to add a skill that you don't have, the first thing is kind of like humbleness and openness. Just like be open to not being good at something.
So
And
that would be a robot needs to.
robot
think
needs to
about
just
that.
humble either one. If a
Okay.
pirate's trying to be a robot or a robot's trying to be a pirate, the first step is be humble. You're about to leave your comfort zone and be bad. Be open to the idea that there are things you're not doing that you could be doing.
Mm-hmm.
So once you have like humbleness and openness, then I think, then it changes. If you're a robot, the thing is like don't think ahead anymore. Don't try to solve it.
Mm-hmm.
Be very present and just try to react in the moment to how something makes you feel. That'd be the first thing I would say, like, and don't worry about whether that's funny. Don't worry about what you're going to do next. Be more reactive emotionally. That would be my tip. Try to be more just like honest instead of funny. Like be committed and be a better actor. Just like be in the moment, take a breath, feel it, and then report what you're feeling. As opposed to thinking, don't look at it from a bird's eye and be like, what does the scene need? What is funny? What should happen next? Like, don't do that if you're trying to be more of a pirate. And then just, be a little brave. You're trying to be an actor, and you're not. So, that's what I would tell a robot. And when I was doing it, it was a lot. I was lucky to be, I was very robotic computer programmer, shy and very thinky. And just I would really admire my co-students and performers who were just so fearless and confident and could step out and make a move, and I could just feel the audience watch them be wrapped with my friends. And I was like, man, how are they doing it? And just through watching it, I was like, well, they're not thinking ahead.
Yeah, they're not
at all.
overthinking this. Yeah.
They're just like, you do something scary, they get scared. I really felt it the first time as I was taking improv classes when I was visiting my friend and his 2-year-old, like noticing when the 2-year-old would pay attention to me in like playing with the kid, and it was all just like, voices and gestures and being very immediate and silly. And I was like, oh, I have to be like this on stage more. I have to pretend like the audience are a bunch of 2- and 3-year-olds.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. I co-wrote this book with a journalist called The Humor Code, A Global Search for What Makes Things Funny. And we went to all these different places to kind of crack the humor code. And we ended up in the Amazon with Patch Adams and 100 hospital clowns.
What do you mean Patch Adams?
Patch Adams is like this famous...
Wait, the movie Patch Adams with Robin Williams?
Yeah.
The real person?
The real Patch Adams.
I see.
Yeah, who's like in his late 60s.
I see.
Very un-Robin Williams, like he's like 6'6". Kind of. My co-author, who has less comedic chops than I do, a journalist, was a really good clown. And what was fascinating was he sort of channeled his fatherhood, his parenthood, from playing with his son.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so that, what you're just describing reminds me of that. Like, he was just very open and let down his inhibitions, and as a result, he became like a really good clown. Really fascinating.
That's what a robot needs to do, I think.
Yeah.
Be more like that.
The story that this reminds me of is, I have a friend, he was a previous podcast guest. I've been dropping podcast episodes a lot, this one and the previous one that I did, but his name's Darwin, and Darwin's taken 101 all the way to 401. And one of the things that Darwin started doing, he noticed that in class, like there's always someone in class who's really bad.
Okay. Yeah.
More, and if you don't, if you look around, you can't figure out who that person is.
Right.
It's you, kind of thing. And so the issue is like what your natural tendency is to say, oh, I want to do a scene with her. I want to do a scene with him. Someone you like, someone you have kind of
a connection,
chemistry. You've had success before. Those people, the people who are struggling, you want to stay away from them because it's already so hard. You don't want to add another barrier.
Right.
And so they walk out on a scene, and there's this like dreaded moment. Who's going out with them?
Yes, I remember feeling like this when I was a student. Yeah.
Yeah. And so what Darwin decided to do, and I think this is open about your idea of being open and being brave. He's like, I'm going to go out, right? Like whenever that person goes out, if there's just even a half a second that other people are waiting, I'm going out with that person. I just thought like, boy, that person's on his way to becoming a good improviser.
Yeah, that does seem like a good step to take.
With that kind of attitude.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was such, and if you know Darwin, it's such a Darwinian thing to do, in a sense. So I want to talk to you about some of your books and some of your lessons and
okay,
so on.
Great.
I'm asking this in a cheeky way.
Okay.
Does the world really need another improv book?
No.
Okay.
No.
Now, I would say this Pirate Robot Ninja is fresh. It's a different style book.
Right. We wrote it as a fable, a fictional story.
Yes.
Right, where the reader is one of the characters studying at an improv dojo in the mountains.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a pirate teacher and a robot teacher, and then eventually a ninja teacher.
So it's not a normal how-to kind of book.
Yeah, hopefully our intention was to make it fun. Right? It's up to the reader to decide if we succeeded. But yeah, improv books are all boring. I mean, I've written a lot about improv, and it's hard to make it fun, and I failed a lot.
So you wrote a book, How to Be the Greatest Improviser on Earth.
Yes.
So
I like that
way
title.
To overpromise.
Yeah, you got to stand out. There's so many improv books.
Now, I want to talk about some of these sort of rules, perspectives, and so on. Right?
Okay.
So, and I want to, first of all, move beyond yes and.
Okay.
Like, to me, yes and is one of the most tired
Got it.
ideas.
No problem.
Because it's found its way, you can read about yes and in the Wall Street Journal nowadays. Like,
That's true. Yeah, everyone's kind of hip to it.
They're very hip to it, but actually, I don't even think that that's the best or most useful rule. Or
which one do you like?
I actually really like the idea of gifting.
Oh, interesting.
I like the idea that we're all supporting actors.
I think that's overrated.
Oh, go on.
I mean, I think that is like an important skill, but it's like that should be more of a side course than the main dish, I think.
Okay, tell me why.
I mean, gifting is where you're doing an improv scene and you say something about the other, you make an assertion about the other character, you know, like you look happy, or how was your time at the bakery today?
Yeah.
Or do you still hate baseball or whatever? And the other person is supposed to accept that endowment as if it's true. And there's sort of an art, you know, so I've heard that called an offer or a gift.
Okay.
And they call it a gift because your initial reaction is to resist it. So we call the gift to remind you to accept it graciously. But I think if you over-focus on gifts, it's bad. I think in practice, gifts only happen, most of the choices you make are about yourself or the world. And then every now and then you make a gift about the other person for fun. And I think that should be like more selective. I mean, it is an important skill, but it would basically be like saying that like a bounce pass is the most important thing to learn in basketball. Like, it is a thing you should learn, but it's not really like the main currency of what you should be good at.
That's fair.
It is an important thing that is that's going on in improv that people might not realize how hard it is.
I guess the thing that I like about it, not to be on the defensive.
That's okay. I like talking about it.
Okay. What I like about it is that the idea is I'm here to help you, and that a good gift is designed to help. And maybe as a new person, it seems you often need help.
Yeah, but how many gifts help? I think like the way gifts work in practice is they are challenges that you have to meet, and then the audience respects you for.
That's interesting.
And it's kind of, I think a gift is more. Okay, I like basketball metaphors for improv, and I think a gift is like a pass.
Yes. Okay.
So a good pass is catchable, but leads you a little bit down the court.
Yes.
But if I throw it too far ahead of you, it's a bad pass.
Yes, indeed.
But if the person throwing it might be like, well, if you were better at catching it, it wouldn't be a bad pass. You know, you're too slow.
Yeah.
But ultimately, a missed pass is on both people. But also, if I throw it to right where you're standing, it's also kind of a bad pass. It's like, well, I'm already here. Sort of. So a good pass is like, moves you a little bit. So where it's, when I catch it, it's a little bit of a feat, but it's not crazy hard to do.
Yeah.
If you're really good at it, you can throw it back and forth all the time.
Yeah, I
Say
think
yes to everything.
I'm happy to talk basketball. So like evidently, you know, LeBron James, part of the reason he's such a great passer is he learns where all his teammates want to catch the ball for a catch and shoot situation.
Yeah, chest or
some guys
head
like it high, some guys like it low, and then he magically
can get
puts it exactly in the perfect spot for them to become better as a result.
I mean, I've definitely been in improv situations where somebody gets me in a way that helps me.
Okay.
But I just don't find that normally to be what happens.
All right, good. Well,
most gifts are like, catch it if you can. And, you know, if it's fun to catch it.
Okay, so then what about...
And the audience likes it when you do that. I think that it's a little aggressive. That's why I kind of think like you have to go easy on it.
Interesting, because I had always interpreted it as this, consistent with this idea of we're all supporting actors. That idea that when we have that perspective, we make each other better. But I
mean, it's true. It's true.
But I think it's theoretically more true than in reality.
Yeah. Like, I guess there's playing together well, and then there's being funny. And all the touchy-feely rules of improv are good for playing together, but they're not good for being funny.
I agree with that.
They don't help the audience laugh.
Yeah, because
I guess you just have to know to default to that when the show's going badly. It's like, we better say yes more. We better help each other more. The show is going awry.
I see.
We got to slow down and build a little bit.
All right, let's keep going then.
Okay.
Let's get off these stupid bounce passes.
Yeah.
Listening.
Yeah, listening is the most crucial.
Okay.
Listening is like hand-eye coordination in basketball. I mean, it is like so fundamental.
All right, so
or height or something. I don't know. I mean, like, it is like a super baseline skill.
It's like athleticism or something.
Yeah,
like that.
It is. Yes.
Okay.
The ability to listen actively and deeply.
And so I think for some people, they're like, why does that matter so much? Why does that matter so much?
I mean, it depends how you define it, but listening, as I'm thinking about it, is like not just hearing the words and understanding what they say, but like empathetic listening, like turning into the person it sounds like you're talking to. Like if you sound angry, then I have done something to make you angry. It's not, if you sound angry, I shouldn't fight you. Well, maybe, but like my primary goal is to become the person who fits the way you're talking.
I see.
Good conversationalists do this.
Yeah.
In real life. Like if whoever your friend who is the best conversationalist, if you go to them and you are excited about a movie and you want to tell them about it, they listen to you and they're figuring out what's good about that movie as you're telling them. They're nodding. They're like, oh, I see. Oh, really? Wow. Oh, and they're like confirming everything you're saying. Oh, wow. And they're like being sympathetic to your viewpoint. Oh, that sounds like a great twist. Oh, how fun. Oh, that's great. And you're like getting more excited as you talk to them. That's listening. It's active listening. They're changing as they listen.
Yeah, and so you're talking about you're not only just listening to what's coming out of someone's mouth, but you're also reading their emotions and
tone.
Yes.
Body language, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I would say that is the fundamental skill of improv that you learn no matter what. Even if you're bad at everything, if you take improv classes or watch improv or do it, you will become a better listener.
And
for sure.
I think that's hard to do.
Yeah.
And the reason is that, especially early on, you're doing a lot of thinking.
Yes.
And a lot of planning. And, especially if you're a robot.
That's right, yeah, the robots want to figure it all out.
They want to figure it all out. And so it's very hard to think and listen at the same time.
Yeah.
And so this is something I'm working on.
Okay, yeah.
I'm working on it through this podcast, for
fun.
example. Right?
Fun.
This is something that, besides reps and besides recognizing how primary it is, how do you get better at it?
Okay, I would say, well, reps is the answer, but you could use reps of your conversations in everyday life.
Okay.
This is if you want to be better at being less of a robot and being more impactful on stage. I would say you could try to be a more, not you specifically, but somebody.
Sure, no, but I'm happy to do it.
Focus on being like a very sympathetic conversation partner, reactive and giving. Show your cards more often and confirm their cards. I mean, I'm not even great at it. Like, it's weird for me to be telling anybody to do this. I'm a stone wall when people talk to me in real life. I'm like, and I tend to hide my emotions a lot, but I've learned through improv to show them more.
I see. I got a very good note for this podcast from my assistant. She used to have training, and her name's Mariah. I should give her the credit for this. I think she had some training in like counseling or clinical psychology or something. And she was saying that I need to do a better job reflecting what it is that my guests are saying.
Oh, that's interesting.
As a way to go deeper.
I would say you're, just in this conversation so far, you are a good listener, and that you are good about bringing up what you are interested in what I'm saying, and, which is nice to hear. I'm like, oh, that's interesting to Pete. That's cool. Oh, he relates to that part, and that's good. There's nothing bad about that. But that's only half of it.
Yeah. Okay.
The other half is like, what am I interested in?
Yeah.
Like, what is the part that I'm excited to tell you, do you think? What do you think? This is an unfair question.
I get it.
But as a test.
Yeah.
Let's try to guess. I'll do it too.
Okay.
What do you think I am most interested in telling you about improv?
I think you're most interested in Pirate Robot Ninja.
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, I do love that. I just wrote a book on it.
Yeah.
That's a good guess. I don't mind that. I would love to say that. But like from the way I'm talking, well, I'll reframe the question. I'll give what am I most interested in? What about improv interests me the most? I'm going to guess what it interests you.
Okay. I don't know yet.
Okay, I'm going to guess for you.
Okay.
But it is a guess.
Sure.
I don't know you that well. My guess is that you're intrigued by humor and getting funnier. So you're like, I want to learn some skills to be funnier. But I think you also like the challenge of it. You appreciate the adventure of it. And you're like just slightly, maybe scared is too strong a word, but you're just sort of like, whoa, this is something new.
Yes.
And you are eager to get good at it for the thrill of getting good at this new thing. The equivalent of it was like, hey, if somebody asked you to go play a sport that you'd never played, and it sounded kind of hard. Like if somebody was like, let's join a boxing gym together, and you'd never box. You're like, oh, boxing's kind of aggressive. Oh, but you know what? Is it a class, and they give you pads? Hey, you know what? I'll try it. Maybe I'll get good at it. Like, I think that's what draws you in.
It does. It happens to be my favorite form of comedy.
Okay.
Also.
Okay. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm in the right realm.
Yeah. Fine.
What do you think I like about improv? Take a guess. There's no way to get it right, because we don't know each other well enough.
Sure, yeah. I think that improv allows you to be a different person.
Yes. I love that about it. I love it. I was a shy kid, and I was stuck in a gray corporate world, and this let me feel like a comedian, and it also let me feel like whatever I was playing in that scene. Mm-hmm. I love that part of it. I love the changeability of it.
And I only am able to get that right because I saw you perform. So I see the contrast between Will and
how I am here. Yeah.
Here you are.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I love that you do. So, I mean, I think you obviously either are or would be a very good improviser based on your attentiveness to me in this interview. But if you're asking how to get better, like, you know, I think interacting with humans, that's the main currency on stage. So, like, we do that all the time.
I mean, you know, this is improvised. Like,
right. This is improvised.
My argument, so as an MBA teacher, my major critique of MBA programs, I mean, there's a lot to critique, of course.
Sure, yeah.
But my major critique is that
I would guess that.
They're very good at teaching strategy. They're very good at teaching modeling. They're very good at teaching Excel. They're very good at teaching slow, deliberate planning and thought. And yet, so much of life as a business professional is improvisational.
Yeah, that's interesting. And they're not necessarily prepping you for that.
Zero. Right? Zero.
That is an passionate indictment.
And so, I mean, of course, I have a goal to teach a course that's designed, and yet, it's those soft skills, your ability to perform in an interview, or your ability to answer questions as part of a pitch, that often predicts success in business.
Yeah.
Right? The ability to think on your feet, to connect with people quickly.
Yeah.
To do these things. And so I just think that while MBA programs do an outstanding job teaching those sort of hard skills, those slow skills, as I like to call them, it's overlooking the value and the teachability. Like, you know that these fast skills can be taught because you've been teaching them for 20 years. And you've written books that attempt to translate them, you know.
I'd like to write a better and more useful book, and if you ever have an idea for one, let me know.
Okay.
If you're like, I booked a summit, and this is the most selfish request I could make. This is insane. So just on the off chance that you think of what I'm going to say it. If you figured a book that I should write, if you were thinking, you know, if I tried improv for 15 years and I had all this experience, here's what I would say.
I see.
What is the book you'd like to read for me? I've got a lot of time on my hands, and I'm looking to write another one.
Oh, good. You know what? I'm happy to give that some thought.
Okay, so if you ever have it, I'm open to hearing that. You may not, but I'm into it.
That's good. Can we go through a few more?
I love it, yeah.
There's one that I really want to get to.
Okay.
But I want to talk about authenticity.
Ooh, yeah, I love that.
Right? So
yeah.
To me, this is something that I'm working on in my new project.
Okay.
Is the idea that when you're truthful, when you're really being real, it provokes. It has this kind of provocative element to it.
Oh yeah, okay. I love
Emotional.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, a lot of people in comedy believe it's a path to laugh. But regardless of whether you're doing it to laugh or you're doing it for some other reason, the notion of being authentic, especially in comedy, seems to be highly valued and useful. So
yeah. I mean, I come at that idea similarly. Authenticity is like, it's weird. Like, okay, you have to find ways to be authentic that are also high stakes. This is the trick.
Oh, okay.
Authentic means like to me. Means like real life. Means like, oh yeah, that's what happens in real life. Authentic. That is real. That is the way, that is what somebody would say. That is how it would go down. Okay?
But the trouble is, in terms of improv, is much of real life is boring.
It's mundane, indeed.
And so you have to make it both authentic on the most interesting day of that thing. It can't be the normal everyday version of that thing. That's the problem. I mean, this is the problem with tons of this narrative drama and comedy is the action is so stupid you can't get on board with it. I mean, it's the classic dumb sitcom where there's a problem, they're bothered by something that nobody would really be bothered by. Mm-hmm. Or it's hard to imagine somebody being bothered by it. Yeah, so it's like you're not into it. Or the solution isn't a real solution, the half an hour is up, so the person just forgives the other person. But it's not earned because it's not real. Mm-hmm. But the other end of it is somebody who plays it so real, this happens in an improv class, where nothing happens. And that's bad. But they're like, I played it real. It's like, yeah, but you're boring.
So
those two things are at war with each other.
So my only real experience with this idea is I've read some books about screenwriting. Mm-hmm. So the idea essentially is, you need the ticking time bomb.
Right, so then to move it forward, not move the action forward or something?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen if you fail?
Okay, yeah.
You turn the stakes up,
Yeah. I don't think you can, okay, yes, go ahead.
No, I don't know where I'm going with that idea.
Yeah, authenticity, you need something like that, like some kind of stakes or importance in your narrative comedy thing to be funny. Mm-hmm. Okay, so authenticity is important, but I think a better word for it that I'm sort of pitching in my classes is relatability.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be actually the most real, because the most real is probably too boring. Mm-hmm. It just has to be the most relatable. Okay? So, like, I want interesting stuff done in a relatable way. So, I want, like, if it's the improv scene is the cop has pulled me over and is giving me a ticket, the most realistic thing is I'm going to just shut up and take the ticket and not give any attitude at all because I'm nervous and it's not in my interest at all to fight this cop in any way. Mm-hmm. But the improv scene version, I've got to say something to this cop that I would never say in a real way.
But it has to be something that people want to say.
It has to be relatable. Yeah, because if you wish you could say to the cop, or what would be fun to imagine somebody saying to the cop? But because the relatability is what's in your head. Mm-hmm. So, okay, I'm discussing now. It might be fun in an improvised scene to say to the cop, I can't stop thinking you got a gun right there, and I could just grab it. Because that's always in my head when I see a cop is I'm aware of the gun.
Yes.
And I think about what if I grabbed it?
Yes.
I would never do it, right? But I'm like, wow, what if my brain overrides flags and I grab the gun, and I'd be nervous. So what about saying that to the cop? So now, that's not realistic.
Yes.
But it is relatable. I'm hoping it's relatable. I'm hoping it's a thought that is in your head. Mm-hmm. So that when I say it in an improv scene, it gets a laugh. Yes, it's crazy. But I'm going to get by on it because people are, I have thought that.
And it's not as crazy as grabbing it.
Not as crazy as grabbing it. I'm not going that big. Mm-hmm. And I'm not like punching him in the face. Or, I don't know, what if another thing I could say is like, I gotta let you know, I support Colin Kaepernick, or something like that. And it's like, why are you bringing this up to the cop? But that might be something that's in your head, So, relatability is more important than authenticity.
I see.
It's a better watchword. Because when you're not relatable, that's worse than, if I grab the gun, it's not relatable. Maybe it's a little bit. But it's too crazy. The relatability is not enough.
Yes, I agree.
Because also when I'm just saying it to the cop, being nervous around the cop is relatable. Mm-hmm. And saying something stupid, that is relatable when you're nervous. So I'm just taking the kind of the real edge case of nervousness, right? Yeah. So like relatability, I think, it gets all the good parts of authenticity. But it leaves room, it avoids being boring.
I see.
So even thinking about that and calling this out in classes.
Yeah.
Because students rightly will say, hey, it's not realistic for me to do this funny thing. And I'm like, you're right. I don't need it to be realistic. I just need it to be relatable.
I see.
Do the fun thing and then give me a relatable reason why you would do it.
Neat. All right, two more.
Okay.
Top of your intelligence.
Yes. Same thing. It's got to be top of your relatability. Doesn't have to be. Top of your intelligence can ruin a scene.
So what is it? Okay, so define that for the listener.
Copy intelligence usually, it's, okay. People, when you tell them to be funny, they deliberately act really dumb and stupid in order to make funny things happen. But it makes the scene too easy and obvious. So we want the characters and improv to play to the top of your intelligence and to only do things that you might do, really. And you have to be as smart in the scene as you would be in that situation.
Okay.
Don't be fooled by things that wouldn't fool you. Everybody has to agree, everybody in the ensemble has to have a little group agreement that we are all going to be as smart in the scenes as we would be. We're not going to fall for stuff that we wouldn't fall for. That's the first lesson that you learn, so you start doing that, like level 2, level 3 stuff in our improv school. More copy intelligence. No, we wouldn't say that. What would you say? What would you say? We say that all the time to students. That's copy intelligence.
And as an aside, just like if you've ever taken one of these classes, you know this, but what often happens is you will do scenes, split the class in half, so 16 students, 8 students will get up, they'll do some scenes, and then oftentimes the instructor will give notes.
Yeah.
And so you'll get these notes about along the lines of what you were just saying, and then you get to sort of learn and process that as a student, and hopefully.
Right. So you're getting these notes and they say, oh, you should have played more copy intelligence. What would you have said to that person? If you're a cop and someone says to you, I can't stop thinking about grabbing your gun, what would you really say? And the student might be like, I'll put him in jail. Be like, no, I don't think you put him in jail for that.
Yeah.
You probably admonished them a little bit. You checked them a little bit. But they don't seem threatening or scary. They didn't do it. It seems not to the top of your intelligence to put them in jail. But if you don't acknowledge it at all, that also seems not to the top of your intelligence. A cop would respond to it. It would be insane to not respond to that comment.
Right. Yes. Okay.
So you give that out. So that's important. But then students take it too far, and it's like we need you to be a little dumb so that fun stuff can happen. I think playing one notch below the top of your intelligence is the best place to be.
Okay.
Like you want a tired or drunk, a buzzed version of you is like the way to go.
Yeah.
A little gullible.
Being a little bit high.
Yeah, just like a little into it is good, but not insane.
That's fun. Okay, last one.
Yeah.
Being healthy.
Oh yeah, that's from my other book.
Yeah.
That's crucial. Being healthy. Because so much of what makes you want to do improv or do entertainment can be unhealthy if you let that go unchecked. The need for validation, so many insecurities of why you can't be more successful or why you're not doing better, so many jealousies. These toxic feelings can really catch up with you and hurt you. So you have to learn to be emotionally healthy while you're doing it.
Okay, and how do you do that?
Have a balanced life. Like, don't get so obsessed with being good at the thing that is. Some people fall in love with improv. They take like 1 million classes, go to 1 million shows, and they let it consume their life. And they need to take a break and hang out with normal people and go do something else. Like that's a common thing you have to do to be healthy. Dealing with your jealousy and toxic things, like just accept that you're not going to go as fast as you wish you could, and you just sort of have to be cool with that. And when you're doing entertainment, you're going to deal with a lot of other personalities who are very volatile and narcissistic, and they're going to be on their own journey where they're not always being healthy, and you have to have some distance but compassion for them. If somebody won't shut up about the great job they have, even though you are unemployed and it's hurting your feelings, you have to sort of be forgiving about that and not build up a lot of anger. And then all these 22-year-olds that are taking into it for the first time, they're going to want to go drinking after the show till all hours, and don't do that. Have a drink and then go home, just be chill.
Yeah, I really like that idea a lot because so on day 1 of my MBA class, I teach a model of well-being to the students.
That's good.
And I do it for 2 reasons. So the reason I tell them that I'm doing it is because if you understand the paths to living a good life, then you can understand how you can help people live a good life. And so without spending too much time on this, I teach what's called the PERMA model by Martin Seligman, who's one of the fathers of positive psychology. So PERMA is an acronym about, so it's P is pleasure, E is engagement, R is relationships, M, meaning, O, achievement. And the idea being that you can pursue some but not all of these
at once.
at once, and you do so, different times in your life, depending on your values. And in the world in Hollywood, people are typically pursuing achievement a lot, and perhaps and hopefully engagement. Engagement is kind of creative pursuits, etc. The second reason I do it is because I want these people to understand there are multiple paths to living a good life, and it's useful to reflect for yourself why you're doing what you're doing and why you're doing it, and to help understand why someone else might be doing something different, and that both of you can be living your best life, even though you're living seemingly diametrically opposed lifestyles. That said, what I'd like to point out is that as a foundation, regardless of your path, you want to take care of yourself, physically, emotionally, etc. The sort of idea being that if you want to achieve great things, you can't be partying to all hours. Right? You need stamina. If you want to be a good father, you need to be healthy and happy. And so this idea of taking care of oneself, getting exercise, spending time with the people that you like and care about who invigorate you, sleeping well, avoiding addictions and so on, serves as a foundation. It's never taught, but it's a big part of getting good at the thing. That's right. No one, universities are designed to destroy your health and well-being. At the same time that you're supposed to be performing at the top of your intelligence. And so I really liked that idea, and I have to admit I've seen some of the toxic sides of entertainment. I'll give a quick anecdote of this because I think it's actually, I once went to an improv show and got to hang out with the team afterwards. We went out and had some drinks and to eat. And these are wonderful, vivacious people on stage. I mean, you just, at the end of the show, you're like, I want them to be my friend, kind of a thing. The dinner was completely different. The dinner basically was me and my buddy asking all of these people questions about their interesting lives, and never once having anyone ask us anything about what we do or anything like that. And look, I get it. If you want to achieve great things, it helps to be focused. And if you want, it probably does help to be a little bit. It can be a performer in some way. But it can go too far. It can go too far. And obviously, if there's telling stories of huge Hollywood stars showing crazy behavior. And of course, the more successful you get, the more like. I long for that. I would love to be corrupted and ruined in that way. I think it would happen to me. I'd be honest. I really do. Okay. Two more questions, and then we can wrap. Okay. I've noticed, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I've noticed that improv books, yours and others, are always great, and everybody loves them. They typically have more than one author. I didn't notice that. They often have multiple authors. I didn't notice that. And some have a lot of authors. Not just two. They have 3, 4 authors. It's just like Prison Comedy has 3. I didn't think about that. And TJ Dave has 3. And TJ Dave, and then the person that wrote it with. So I'm just going to ask, I'm going to ask my question. I haven't noticed this, so what do you think of that? I think that improvisers are natural collaborators. And I think as a result, it just becomes natural to them to work with somebody. You and Billy have been doing improv together for all these years. Why not write a book together? And also, I think the rules of improv, the skills associated with improv, probably help to write a good book together. That's my guess. That's a generous guess. I had a much more negative and cynical reaction, which is improvisers are lazy and not used to ever having to revise anything, and they have to team up with someone who actually works hard. So one of them is espousing all kinds of BS, and the other person is writing it down and trying to organize it. That did not speak to me and Billy's relationship, but I would guess that, a lot of improv books are some improv guru who's really good on stage, but has let their
ability to revise accuracy, and they need someone to be an editor for them.
Oh, that's fair. Okay.
But I don't actually know.
I hope I'm right.
I hope you're right too, yeah. I hope I'm wrong.
Last question. What are you reading, watching, or listening to that's really good? That really stands out? Not run-of-the-mill good, but good.
No, that's fun. Well, just watched Tim Robinson's talk show, I Think You Should Leave. It's on Netflix, and I think that's an amazing show.
Why so?
It's sketch comedy with that has lots of turns and twists. You think it's going to be about one thing, and then it's immediately about something else, and then it ends up being about a third thing, and they're all sort of funny, and then it ends, and I'm just sort of left dazzled by the feel for what will be surprising to the audience at any moment. So that's how I like that. Plus they're short, like 17-minute episodes, 15-minute episodes. You can kind of see through them.
Yeah, in a world where nearly everything is too long, that's interesting.
Yeah. So that's something that I like that. What are you looking at? What are you reading?
Yeah, I could tell you're a bit of a teacher, because you've asked me more questions today than my average guest.
I do that at podcast meetings. What is it?
The podcast.
I'm on them a lot. Everybody has them, so I appear on them a lot.
I see.
I'm in this medium of format.
I see, okay. You know, I've been a little rudderless when it comes to consuming, in part because my life has been so unsettled, so
You just moved.
I was in Dubai, then teaching, then I was in Italy doing a family vacation, which I never do. I was there with my sister's family.
Okay.
I came home, I packed up my house, and then I've been here trying to get settled.
So you're in a custard.
You know, I have a TV, and, I actually just read, he's going to be a guest on the podcast, Mike Reese's memoir, Springfield Confidential. So he's a longtime Simpson writer, was a showrunner, and so on.
You've got something to tell you while you're doing this.
I just read his book, which was really fun.
It was fun, yeah?
Yeah, it's fun. It was actually funny. It's hard to write funny.
Yeah, I think so.
And he and his co-author, Matthew Cookstein, did a nice job making it funny, which I like. I also have recently discovered Steve Pressfield's book, The War of Art. And that's like a fun book to have on the road.
I think that's fun, yeah.
It's a little kind of motivational book.
Yeah.
It's a nice book to have on the road. It's sort of an easy, you can kind of pick it up and open it up, and you don't have to, it's not narrative. So,
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I've been really trying to focus on what little time I have to do creative work.
Yeah.
Rather than consuming. This is the focus of my life.
Output more than input.
I'm trying to go, the ideal world for me would be every hour I spend consuming, I spend 3 hours creating. That would be my ideal place. Enough consumption to fuel ideas and to provide inspiration, but not so much, consuming is passive, and easy.
Yeah.
And it's worthwhile, but when it gets too out of whack,
Yeah.
I mean, people like you and me create a lot.
Yeah.
I think the average person doesn't create nearly enough. I think the average person is like 100 to 1 consumption to creation. And I think lives would be better to try to balance that out a little bit more.
Let me recommend one more thing.
Please.
There's an album I'm listening to. I listen to a lot of music, but it's rare that an album grabs me anymore. I feel like I've gotten over it. The albums are not directed at me so much, at least in pop music. I mean, there's lots of exceptions, but in general. Anyway, heard an album yesterday that grabbed me. It's by a group called Bleachers. I think it's the one-man band.
Okay.
And it's called Gone Now. And there's a band called, I think he's a member of a band called Fun, but this is like his other project.
Oh, I know Fun.
Yeah, Fun has some, I think he's the second guy in Fun, sort of.
Okay.
So, I might be totally wrong on that, but I know that this album, Bleachers Gone Now, has got me good. Bleachers is the artist.
And the album is Gone Now.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh boy, I can't stop listening to it.
That's good.
Yeah. It's really fun to be just glad to be on something.
Fun, the band Fun, I felt like their music was really earwormy.
Yeah, man, it was catchy as heck.
It was, yeah. Same kind of feel?
It's more sedate. Like Fun was pretty, it's not as sugary.
I see.
It's a little more, I think it's not as warmy.
Okay.
But I really dug it.
Cool. That's great. You know, what's interesting is I very rarely get musical responses to that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I
I
agree.
do podcast now.
Yeah, podcast, I think.
Yeah. Will, this is a lot of fun.
All right, thanks for having me, Peter. Very nice.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit petermcgraw.org for more information about our guests, show notes, and social media links. If you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share with others. Join Dr. Peter McGraw next week for another fun, fascinating conversation on I'm Not Joking.